Listen, man, I am a big fan of your work.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think I've said this to you a few times.
We've met many times.
And the thing about you is, so say someone has not seen anything you've done.
Okay.
Obviously, the Holdovers, like, let's skip that.
Okay.
Except for that one, which you're incredible in.
Oh, interesting.
But what would you like them watching first and why?
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I don't know. That's an excellent question. I'd be a toss-up. I mean, I would say this only because I don't know it's the first thing, but it's a movie I really enjoyed. If I'm going to cut out some of these other things, there's a movie I did called The Illusionist that I really like. And for some reason, I really enjoyed playing that character. I don't know. I just throw that out there. I'd say that.
Love that movie.
Yes.
Neil Berger did an amazing job with that.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah. Before I get into The Holdovers, which is one of my favorite films of the year,
Right.
you are phenomenal in it.
Thank you.
I watched every episode of Billions.
Okay.
Big fan of the
Really?
show. I
Great.
did.
Amazing.
And so I'm just curious, what was your take on the final season, especially the finale and how it all ended?
The finale was fascinating to me because I think we all thought it was going to be this bloodbath of everybody. And then we got this thing that was actually very kind of measured and kind of sweet in some ways at the very end, so it was almost like the biggest twist in that thing was that it didn't end up in a huge bloodbath, because I thought I was going to take him out. He was going to take me out. Everybody's going to get taken out, but that didn't happen, which I thought was really cool, actually.
I thought it was a really good finale.
Yeah.
And it was like a fan, it was really good.
That's exactly what it was, that I was like, I think it was for the fans.
Totally.
Yeah.
My only nitpick of the show, and I want you to know, I want your thoughts on this, is that it's amazing how all these people would just meet up in like an office which takes like 4 hours round trip. The way my brain works,
Please.
it's like...
4 hours round trip. It takes 4 hours to get from Lower Manhattan to Brooklyn. I mean, it's like I was all over the place, and in one day I was doing stuff that was like, oh, come on, this is impossible. I can't get to Brooklyn that fast. It was that kind of thing was very funny, and especially my character was traveling all the time in a way that was just ridiculous.
That's my only nitpick of the show. Because
Ridiculous.
You have to put these actors in the same room, but I'm like, this is a phone call. This
No,
is a
the
Zoom.
chronology of the thing was kind of hard to follow sometimes for us. I'd be like, how much time has gone by? How did I get here? Why are we? Yeah, there was a lot of that. Yeah.
Jumping into why I get to talk to you, I love this movie so much.
Thank you.
It feels to me like, and I told Alexander this, like you guys shot it in the early 70s, and then they just forgot about it till now.
That's awesome. So it's found again somewhere.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Obviously, if Alexander calls you after Sideways, you're probably going to say yes. But what was your reaction to this script? Because this is a great character.
It was a great character, and the script was really great. And it was all that kind of prep school stuff was really great, and that kind of movie that it was sort of a little bit reminiscent of the settings in Boston and stuff like that. But the dialogue was so sharp, and it's one of those things where you're just like, I know I don't have to do a whole lot of work, actually, because the dialogue is showing me exactly where to go, So, and the character was great. All the characters are great, and the relationship. So, I thought I was like, and in my mind, it's a Christmas movie, and I like that about it.
It's definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, and maybe pull an example from this film, but you have a big scene on a Monday. I'm just curious because I am a big fan of, like I said, I'm a fan of your work. Mm-hmm. If you have a big scene on a Monday, it's an emotional scene or a dramatic scene, it's going to be a little challenging. Mm-hmm. How soon before that day are you sort of breaking down the scene or scenes and thinking about how do I want to play this? And how, you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that's a big question for an actor. It's like, it changes over the years. How much preparation? It's always a game for me of how much preparation I should be doing. And overdoing it is not great. Underdoing it's not great. Finding that sweet spot. I think as I've gotten older, I've been a little bit more willing to not be so prepared walking in and not feel so like everything is broken down and just see what happens. I think when I was younger, I was a little bit more worried about it and I overthought it probably, but it's a constant challenge for actors sometimes. And how, the most important thing is be relaxed more than even prepared, and so it's like, it's just a constant journey of finding where you can hit that sweet spot.
Yeah, it's also possible that, through your career, all that work has now made it that, that you have muscle memory.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so you can actually trust yourself more and more, which is hard. It was hard for me as an actor. And somebody like Dom looks like he already trusts himself a lot, and that's great. He's starting from a place of kind of relaxation, and that's really important.
So you've done so many roles. Do you remember what was the role or performance, whatever it might be, that you were the most nervous before stepping on set on the first day?
That's a really good question. I think the John Adams thing had repeated moments, not just the first day. There were repeated moments in that show where I was like, oh my God, this is totally nerve-wracking and terrifying. And so that had a lot of that going on, just because there was so much that I had to do in that it was the burden, it was the volume of it, almost more than anything, that was just like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this?
It's also not like you were in every scene, or almost.
and I was also, it's also like, I wasn't the guy who was never shut up either. I mean, I just talked constantly in that thing. So that was nerve-wracking all the time.
So one of the things I really love about this film is that it feels like found family, you know, and there's so many moments between the three of you that are just so good.
That's nice.
You know?
Did you say a Shoplifters movie, that Japanese movie?
I didn't, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a great movie. And at some certain point, somebody has that classic line of like, sometimes your real family isn't the one you were born into, it's the one you find. And so it has that feeling of it. And what's really true about this movie, though, that's actually really kind of poignant, is that it'll break up and I know these people will never see each other again. And so it's like this moment is really important for them, but it's going to go away, you know, and that's, which everything does, I suppose, eventually, but that's poignant about it.
It's weird you say that, because I often, when I'm in an Uber now, or when I'm seeing people for the first time in a city, whatever, I'll often end a conversation saying, I really hope you enjoy your life. Oh, because man. I know I'm never going to see you again.
That's intense. And, you know, doing what we do in film and stuff like that, you won't, I mean, you form these incredibly intense bonds and then they break up and you really don't see a lot of these people ever again. And it's a crazy way to live. It really is. I'm
almost out of time.
Okay.
The strike is over. Yes. And with Billions wrapping, all of a sudden your schedule is a lot more open.
Yes, it was.
So I'm just curious, are you looking forward to that freedom that's going to come from being able to have the time to like do almost anything?
Yeah.
Or are you thinking about like another TV show for next year?
No, I am enjoying the freedom, actually. I mean, I had a guy describe to me once that I chain smoke jobs, so I need to quit for a bit, not quit, but just cut back. So I'm actually enjoying the freedom to sort of relax and pick and choose and see what happens. I'm enjoying that. I'm lucky to be able to do that. Very lucky. So.
On that note, I really want to say on camera, your performance, and this is one of my favorite of the year.
Thank you.
I can't recommend this film enough.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.